Sports talk radio station. Well, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, Flickr, Tumblr, Instagram, we're everywhere. And, we're going along on this ride through hashtag sports, through the Quickdraw, through Buck Sports. But we are rooted in Buffalo. We got to talk about the Bills. First question out of the gate, I got to tell you before we get to our very special guest, we got 3 interviews lined up for you tonight. We got Braden Flack, Joe Hagan, and Benny Castro to give you. And we'll get a little bit more detail about them in a little bit. But Buffalo Bills, staying, trading up, or moving back?
Well, first, I think there's 3 players that are worth trading up for. Sammy Watkins is one of them. Khalil Mack is the other one. And Jadeveon Clowney. I think those are the 3 players that you trade up for if you're going to trade up for anybody. Does Buffalo have enough? That's the big question. If they're going to trade up, do they have enough to give up? And will they give it up? I mean, they're going to give up at least, they're going to trade the number 1 pick this year. They're going to give up a number 1 pick for next year. And being in the 9th spot, to get that first pick, to get Clowney, they may have to do an RG3 type trade and give you 2 number 1 picks, which I don't think Buffalo's willing to do. I think they have too many needs. Mm-hmm. So the only other 2 options that leaves is maybe trading for St. Louis and grabbing Khalil Mack or Sammy Watkins. I think all 3 of those players are worth the trade. If you can trade, if you could get them both for a number 1 pick next year, I think you do that. I think it's going to cost a little bit more. I still think you do it, especially for a guy like Khalil Mack. Mm-hmm. That guy's a game changer.
Yes.
Jadeveon Clowney would make the Buffalo Bills defensive line the number 1, the best line on paper before the season starts. Mm-hmm. And it may go down. I mean, I believe they were number 2 last year in sacks in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And they were top 5 in yards allowed. So if they were able to stop the run, the Buffalo Bills defense, there'd be something to watch for the rest of the year. I mean, people would pay attention to them. They'd be very difficult to prep for. Now, looking at the way the defense is now and the moves that they've made, they're already there. I think picking up the linebacker and Spikes. They lost to Jarius Byrd, but I think you fill that position in the draft. That they're not really, to me, they filled up their biggest need, which is that linebacking core. They're moving Kiko to the outside. So what do they do at the 9th spot? I don't think they have a bad spot. The top 10 picks are pretty deep. I think you've got three great offensive linemen that are all worthy of a top 10 pick. Mm-hmm. Personally, I don't think it's not a fancy pick. It's not exciting to me. It's not sexy. Mm-hmm. So I always find that boring. Go for something. Go for someone who's going to be touching the ball. Go for a playmaker. I like the sexy pick at quarterback, defensive end, linebacker, or wide receiver. Then you've got Ebron. Mm-hmm. That could be a Vernon Davis type player with the right coaching, and I know that's a big deal, but he's the first tight end to come out that has been compared to a Vernon Davis. His athleticism is definitely comparable.
I don't know about his speed, though.
His speed is there, from what I understand. I mean, he's right there.
Top-notch player. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Well, Vernon's got wide receiver speed, right? I mean, he's a rare breed.
Yes.
And those guys don't grow on trees, but they're saying this is when you talk about a tight end in the top 10 picks, he's got to be, just talking about him says a lot about his athleticism. And the guy needs a lot of work on blocking and catching the ball with his hands. So I wouldn't go that route. What is Buffalo going to do? What do I want them to do, and what are they going to do? I think the major questions that I would want to answer. The first one is I think they're going to try to trade up, but I don't know if Houston or St. Louis will take their offer. But I think they're going to try, and I think they're going to go try number 1 and number 2. And it's really going to depend on how many other players are looking for that number 1 and that number 2 spot. If there's no other people bidding, Buffalo might get it. I think the Buffalo Bills are gonna go for the trade, not gonna get it. And at number 9, I hate to say it, they're gonna end up taking an offensive lineman. And
Why would you hate to say
I
it?
hate to say I know they need to do it because I think there's a lot of sexy players that are going to be left on the board. That I think they could take. Ebron being one of them. I think Mike Evans is going to be there, and I like him. I know you brought up. You talked about Swede. What was it? Swede with the
Lima Sweet. Yes.
Lima Swede
Yes.
with the Pittsburgh. You said the comparables are there, and maybe they are, maybe they're not, but. I love a big guy with hands like that, and I think we need a number 1 receiver. The Bills have, I think, 4 number 2 receivers. I mean, they're all good, and
I
but
take
none of
4
them I know.
twos.
Uh-huh.
I take 4 twos because
Yeah.
you don't have 4 twos of defensive backs covering them. So
Right.
somebody's got to get open.
Right.
So, I know to counter some of your points, although everyone likes to talk about, and then there's a blog up on #sports.net. Yes, there are sexy picks out there, but the pick that you had last year in the first round that you traded back to get 4 knee injuries, 3 knee procedures. I don't know how sexy he's going to be throwing from his back, and I don't know how effective Sammy Watkins can be if EJ's not protected. And the thing that I mean, throwing the draft aside for a second, why is everyone so quick to throw in the towel on EJ? I mean, if it's his injuries, I understand it, but he has not even played a full season yet. I mean, we saw in Cleveland this year, a guy got fired after 1 season. I mean, can we just wait? Whatever happened to developing these guys in the NFL? I do see, but I would agree with you that there's one name that the Bills can trade up with and get. That's Clowney. Other than that, all these other guys, it's a really, really deep draft. You could probably get a serviceable guy, not necessarily a game changer. You look at Mack, Bills are going to run a 4-3 this year. Can he play with his hand in the dirt? You look at the big 3 of linemen. Someone's got to protect. You're not going to take the 4th best lineman with the number 9th pick. No. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills went defense with the number 9 pick. Because Ebron, to me, who am I? Just a little NFL analyst here. I don't see him being a top 10 pick. Great player, gonna make some noise in the league. I don't see top 10 in him, but that's just me. You don't have to listen to me.
There's a lot of needs.
Yes,
That's the thing.
yes.
That's the
And
thing about the Bills.
I love
a
that
lot
they
of
address
needs.
some of them too. Mm-hmm. They address a lot of those.
And they
in the
will.
offseason.
And I think the offensive line is a position that you can address in second and third rounds. I think you can do that, as well as tight end. So to me, the sexy pick would be wide receiver or linebacker as their first pick. Mosley is one that everybody talks about. Barr from UCLA is another one. As far as wide receivers, I think Mike Evans is there. You pick him up right away, and I guarantee you they will if he's there.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fireworks.
I'm telling you, he's gonna be
on the
there.
show because in most of the hashtag crew, it's I don't see it in Evans. I don't see it. I think that he's a big target. He can go up and get the ball for you, but he's not Megatron.
What do you think
He's not
about
a guy
trading
who
up
can-
for Sammy Watkins then? Not big enough playmaker?
I
or game
think
changer?
I think he's a playmaker. I think if your long-term view is that you're not going to have Stevie next year,
Oh, they'll have
go
him.
add.
They'll
You know,
have him.
If you're not, no,
He's
that's what I'm saying though.
He's
is
a
if-
slot receiver.
If you want to have, I mean, you talk about the trio. If you get rid of Stevie, I'm saying you talk about the trio of Woods, Graham, and Watkins. How can you not be successful as a quarterback in the NFL?
Right.
How can you not be successful?
Some big guys, some speedy guys.
Yes, they
You got
re-signed
it all.
Chandler. What are they going to do with him in 2015?
That's
You
a
need
long
another
discussion.
tackle? Yeah, so
I don't like Chandler. Guy fumbles on every 1.7 touches. So
So as we await our first caller, Braden Flack, we're talking a little bit about the Bills. You can check out the hashtag sports at #sports.net. We got a very special thing for the crew. If you go there, there's a contest going on there. We have a mock draft up. Obviously, I'm the only one that put a mock draft up, but May 7th, we're going to have our mock draft with the entire crew. It's going to be written up there. And there's a scoring system for how you pick the first 10. We're just going over the first 10 picks. So if you happen to score better than the hashtag crew, you get 2 prizes. You get a Buffalo Bills autograph hat, and you get free airtime the following Monday. So it's going to be a definite treat. Our guest is in studio now, Braden Flack. You can be seen on Twitter at FlackNFL. You know, the most amazing thing you're going to know about this guy is when I tell you about his age. He's a journalist. He's a broadcaster. He works for 91.3 FM, Mustang Radio in Rock Spring, Wyoming. NFL and NBA analyst. He's had guests on his show from ESPN to the USA Today. Oh, by the way, he's 17 years old. Braden, welcome to Hashtag Sports. How you doing? Braden, you there?
Braden, can you hear us? Well, there's something wrong with our phone system.
So we got a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll try to get back to him. And while we wait for that caller. So with the draft coming, Buffalo Bills, we're talking about the 9th pick overall. Is there any other sleepers that you think might creep in of the guys that we're not talking about?
You know, the sleeper that I think is that nobody's talking about is the possibility that a quarterback might not go, might go undrafted. Hey, Braden.
All right, we got him.
All right,
Braden, how you doing tonight, sir? Yeah, we can hear you now.
We can hear you, but can you hear us? Hello.
Yeah, we got you.
We got you, bud. You cannot hear us? We are having some major technical difficulties today.
Yes, unfortunately we are.
Where's that Gruden?
Where's Gruden?
Where's Gruden when you need him?
I don't even. It's. Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize. Hashtag Sports Nation. We do apologize. We're having some technical difficulties with our callers. We can hear him. Apparently, he can't hear us. So we'll try to rectify this problem. But you know, for those of you that know the perils of live radio, we're gonna keep going. So you were talking about the quarterback. While we try to figure out this.
I think that's the big sleeper, that a quarterback may go undrafted in maybe the first round. I think everybody's got these top 3, top 4 quarterbacks in Bridgewater and Bortles, and I think that the quarterback position is so equal between the top rated quarterback and the 6th rated quarterback that you could pick up a guy in the second round and it wouldn't make a difference whether you got Johnny Manziel in the first round or you got Garoppolo in the second round. I think they're just so close, or even Bortles in the second round, or Bridgewater. These are guys that have good tape on them. You don't have a superstar franchise type quarterback in the draft this year that I think is worthy of a top 10 pick. I think those that are in need of a quarterback will know that they can get one in the second round. So I think that's a sleeper.
All right, we hopefully have rectified our problem. Braden, can you hear us? Hello, Braden. Okay.
All right, I'm going to try to get Braden on the phone here. If you give me a second.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see all the quarterbacks fall into the second round. That's definitely going to be something to watch out for.
That'd be fun.
Yes.
Hello?
Hey, Braden, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now. I called in several times, but it was just blank, so I don't know what was about.
Well, our apologies. Our apologies. We are having some technical difficulties, so... All right, now we've made the introduction. I don't know if you heard the introduction, but you're a junior in high school, broadcasting on 91.3 FM, a Mustang Radio in Rock Spring, Wyoming. You've had guests on from ESPN, USA Today. You're an NFL and NBA analyst. How'd you get started, Brandon? Why don't you tell us that?
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story, but to make it a little shorter as I go along here. First off, I did start about 2 years ago, so around the age of 15, me and my friend, we're big into sports and figured, why not, go ahead and try a sports show out. So we went ahead and did that on Spreecast, I think it was when we originally started there. Just a free setup, had a few listeners every now and then. Had a lot of fun. We had a couple guests on that show, and then from there I decided, well, I know the guy that runs the radio station up at 91.3 where I currently do my FM show now, and I know the guy, and I've wanted to, pursue this career, and so my uncle gave me advice to not be afraid to go ask. So I went and asked. They gave me a show, and the rest is history.
Your uncle's a smart man. I mean, being at such a young age, 17 years old, I had no clue what I wanted to do at 17. I mean, this is something that you've put a lot of thought and obviously a lot of time pursuing. What do you see in your future?
I'm really hoping to be able to, get up there with the bigs someday and have my own show on, FM national radio with whatever company that may be. But that's kind of my goal, to become a national radio talent. And also, if that doesn't happen to work out, I'd like to pursue in journalism as well as what I do now. I write for Vavel.com, and so that's where I stand with journalism as well.
That's great. The NFL draft is coming up soon, and if you were to pick one crazy thing that's going to happen in the top 10 picks, what would it be?
In the top 10, I'd have to say, I don't know if this is really as crazy, but I would say Manziel falls out of the top 10 because I think a team like St. Louis is going to get him there in the teens, or he could potentially fall down to the 20s where Cleveland could pick him up. But I think he'll fall out at the top 10 unless Minnesota picks him up. So that's something crazy that I think you can watch out for.
I got to tell you that we were just talking about that. I know you were.
Manziel, why is he so high on everyone's board? I can't see it.
Yeah.
Braden, oh my God.
Well, he's saying he's going to fall out.
No, but it's like he shouldn't even be in it.
No, he shouldn't.
He is. He's slower than Vic, and he has more hype than Tebow. This is not a guy you want on your squad.
I don't see a quarterback going in the first round. That's my prediction. That's the wild thing.
I love the analysis, Braden, but oh my God, it's just a personal view because we've been beating up Manziel and hashtag sports here for about a year, and I cannot see it. I don't know what.
I think the guy has a lot of potential to become a good quarterback, but with all his off the field issues and all that nonsense, I don't think he's going to become what a lot of people think he'll become. I think he'll be pretty much a backup quarterback for his NFL career.
Well, do you think it's going to affect Manziel that he's going to be taking a pay cut going to the pros?
That's a good point right there. But that's something to watch out for.
Oh my goodness! All right, so you're covering the Spurs and the Mavs this evening. Any predictions on that game?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This is a great game. If you for the listeners, if any of them watched the first quarter of this game, that's true basketball right there. The Spurs finished with, I believe it was 56% shooting, and they were down by 8 in the first quarter. A lot of great defensive hustle by the Mavericks, and they were hitting their shots, attacking the basket, much like the Spurs did in Game 5, where they had around 54 points in the paint at the end of the game. So I think this game goes to the Mavericks. They'll force Game 7 in San Antonio.
Fantastic. Thank you for your time, Braden. Great interview. We wish you best of luck in your future. I mean, like I said, 17 years old, unbelievably amazing. Amazing. I mean, that the guy's got his head. I remember myself at 17.
I'd like to forget myself at 17 sometimes. I mean, I was worried about trying to get a date for the prom, not trying to be a sportscaster and journalist.
My focus was on nothing but girls. And I was such a nerd. I couldn't get a girl to save my life. I really but I just couldn't stop thinking about him. It was a curse.
You know what, Johnny? And sometimes things never change.
That is so true.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That is
listening
so
to
true.
Hashtag Sports. We got Quickdraw with Johnny the Sheriff Chebat right now. It's just so interesting to see that dynamic, to talk to him, and I've seen some of the stuff that he's done. It's just amazing that he started it 2 years ago. I mean, we're
15.
talking to him now at 17. He started his own blog talk show. He's on an FM radio station now. He's going to pursue that. I mean, just to know what you want to do now, especially with, because I see kids every day, and to see some of the kids that, all right, this is what they want to do now, and he's got his head. He seems really focused. Wow, we wish Braden all the best of luck, and we're going to be having him back on the show real soon.
Yeah, I wonder how much this is doing for his dating life. I mean, he's got to be on an FM radio show. I mean, that makes you famous. I mean, wouldn't you think, like, that's kind of famous? You're on a public radio broadcast. I mean, you're broadcasting live in a city, and I don't know how big Rock Spring, Wyoming is, but even if it's small, I mean, gosh, I mean, he must be the pick of the litter.
Well, let me ask you that question. You're on a radio station. How's it? You're recognizing the community yet? I don't know.
I'm telling you, man, I can't. My gosh, my wife is getting sick of all the letters, the fan mail that's coming to the house. She's very upset about it.
Oh God. So it wasn't. So as we await our second guest, Joe Hagan. Just the way that the draft plays out, the Manziel issue, and it's almost getting to a point where I almost have to either get a stick of gum or go run to the bathroom really quick every time I hear the guy's name. I just, studying film on him and what he's been able to do in college, nobody's doubting that he's an athlete. Nobody's doubting that, the guy's fast. But there's a difference between being fast and being NFL fast. There's a difference between trying to be a playmaker, which in the SEC, which is considered the best conference by many as the best conference in college. A lot of times when you see guys that the pocket breaks down and they're rolling around, their eyes are still downfield. Big Ben's a key component, a key guy that does that.
But Big Ben is also the most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
True. That's very true. But getting back to me, I don't see him. He's just like waiting for something to develop.
And there's also one thing.
He's not looking downfield.
Yeah, but also to your point, you talked about NFL speed, the difference between college. What about the NFL hit? What about a guy if he's going to take a hit in the NFL over and over, as he did in college, he's not going to last.
I heard on the radio, and they were talking about Manziel. Oh, yeah, he's coming to, the Bills got to play him. If Oakland takes him, the Bills got to play him in December in Oakland. Guy, he won't make it to December in Oakland. If he plays the way he plays right now, he will not make it to December.
No. Ask Michael Vick. Yeah. He's been about the same size, and Michael Vick's injured every year. I don't think he's finished the season since he's returned to the NFL. But even before that, he was always riddled with injuries.
Yeah. Well, Michael Vick, apparently news broke late that he violated his parole in Philadelphia. He got sentenced to a year for the New York Jets. So we'll be keeping that late breaking story as well to see how that goes.
How long have you had that in your pocket?
Oh my God, it's been in my holster collecting dust for a little while. I think we created a meme for it on our Instagram page.
That's great.
It's just interesting to see all the things that unfold in the draft, and it's so hard because I had mentioned on a previous Hashtag Sports episode, from the time that free agency starts to die down until the first day of the draft, I don't believe one word that these teams say. Like that's just why. Maybe it's just my character, my nature, whatever. I don't see, because it's a poker game. You play poker.
I was just gonna say that as an avid poker player, it's the way you act. So you look at the table. If they act strong, they're weak. If they act weak, they're strong. Right? Mm-hmm. If someone's acting as if they want to trade up, they're not trading up. If someone's acting as if they're gonna pick up a quarterback, they're trying to trade away that pick.
Yeah, and all the talk is centered around, picks in the top 10 trading up into the top 10. What about some of these teams in the 20s? Do you see them possibly being a sleeper or a player in the trading up? I mean, because everyone keeps talking about, oh, Atlanta's going to trade up with Houston to try to get Clowney. The Bills are going to try to trade up to get Watkins. This team's going to trade up to try to, everyone keeps, there's that jockeying going on.
So the question is, do you think they'll trade up into the top 10, or do they?
Do you see a team like the Bears coming out of nowhere? Do you see a team like Indy who doesn't have a first-round pick coming back in? Do you see the Redskins who have had...
The Redskins, yes, because they're Dan Snyder is just a wild card, He'll do silly stuff, yeah. I don't have any faith in Jerry Jones. Whatever he does, I think he gets it wrong more than he gets it right, and he's just a circus. I mean, to me, that's a circus.
He needs to fire his general manager, who is himself, by the way.
He is the general manager. Yeah, he is, and he's horrible. He is. He hasn't done a great. I mean, yes, he's won 3 Super Bowls, but I mean, that's a Jimmy Johnson thing, in my opinion. But just to move on, do I think a team is going to make a splash to move into the top 10 from, say, the other 20 teams? I think the teams that I'm just trying to figure out what player is available in the top 10 that is worth that kind of splash. And Jadeveon Clowney's, I think, the only one. I think he's the only exceptional player that I think comes around once every 7 to 10 years, right? If you look at the defensive end position, starting with Reggie White, after him you have Bruce Smith, then Javon Curse, who's after Javon Curse? Mario Williams.
Julius Peppers.
And Peppers, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got those 5 players in the last 30 years, right? At defensive end, it's just they're Hall of Famers. As far as defensive ends, you don't see players like that come along that often. I don't see a quarterback right now that is, to me, worth an RG3 type move or worth a Andrew Luck or an Eli Manning type. I don't think there's anybody in the draft that quarterback like that. But wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, he's too small for me. If you look at all the 6'1" wide receivers chosen in the last 10 years, I can't even name one player that's any good. Maybe I can't name one, to be honest with you.
Taken in the top,
that's truly a top 10 pick. Yeah,
okay.
That's a top 10 pick. I mean, a top 10 6'1" wide receiver chosen in the last 10 years. Can you name one that's any good?
Not currently.
Not currently, no. So I don't know if I would trade up to get Sammy Watkins. I hope to God Buffalo doesn't do it. I think for the right price you do it. Lee Evans.
No, I'm just kidding. I was going through first round picks. Yeah, he was
But he was
13.
in the top 10.
Yeah, he was third. Yeah.
Right. He was in the top 10.
It's tough because the landscape of the NFL has shifted. So, I mean, you got these the pass happy league. Everyone likes to talk about what's going to happen. Remember when running backs used to be picked in the top 10?
No, not anymore.
Not
even close.
They are a second, third round,
Absolutely.
Fourth round type thing. And, which obvious in this free agency period. 10 years ago, teams would be drooling over Chris Johnson.
Yeah.
And
now they bring him in and they spit him out quickly. And teams have 2 to 3 running backs. It's all about mileage now. They get everything out of you that they can within the first few years. The average running back, his lifespan is 3 years in the NFL.
Yes.
So, I don't know if there's something wrong with my mic here. All right.
No, we'll be all right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Hashtag Sports. You can find us at hashtagsports.net, ultimatesportstalk.com, and buckbucksports.com. We got our next caller in the queue. Let's see if it actually plays this time.
Come on,
we
baby.
Got Joe Hagan. Joe, how you doing?
Hey, Joe, can you hear us okay? Joe, you there?
We may have to go to the alternate. So we are going to, obviously, we're still sorting out our technical difficulties. It happens sometimes. We are going to have Joe Hagan on, who is the co-founder, a co-founder who is part of the three-headed monster that is BetBuckets. You can find them at betbuckets.com or on Twitter at BetBuckets. Joe, how you doing tonight, sir?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. Sorry we had a little technical difficulties at the start of your call. We're going to try to rectify that right now.
No worries. Excited to be on.
So, you got the sheriff here as well. He's going to try to ask you a few questions.
Joe,
How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for coming on the show. Good to have you. One of the things that I found exciting about what you do, Joe, is the fact that you give away your picks for free. And I love your website. I've been going over it for the last few hours. I love how you not only give your predictions, but you've got your record for the entire year, your return on investment. You've pretty much got it all over here, and you give it away for free. Now, tell me a little bit about that. Tell me. Well, first let's go with how you got started. Why don't you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for having us on, Johnny. So a little bit about us. We're based out of San Francisco. There's three of us, myself, my co-founder Corey, and then Bobby. I kind of head the models and the predictions, the data analytics. Corey works on our back-end engineering, and Bobby does a lot of the front-end design. We've all worked together in payments. We worked at Capital One for a year. We worked at Verifone for a year, and then we've also worked at a startup that was acquired by Verifone. We've always kind of worked with big data, algorithms, stuff along those lines. Previous to this, we were applying those sorts of skills to predicting fraud, mostly credit card fraud, and we thought that we should do something more interesting because predicting fraud all day isn't that fun. We all love sports. Kind of just started with the NBA. Personally, that's my favorite sport. I grew up relates to sports predictions, betting, recommendations, and saw kind of a lack of a good, user-friendly, accurate product that could really serve the end consumer, which is the better, the sports fan, in the proper way. So we started to develop BetBuckets. At the start of last NBA season, we kind of retrospectively tested our models. We found that, we had something that was really good that we wanted to put to market, and we launched at the start of this NBA season. This year has been very interesting. We've learned a lot. Our accuracy has been probably above what we expected, but I'm not complaining.
Well, you talk about your proprietary prediction algorithm. That to me fascinates me as someone, as a handicapper who is, it's all about systems. I'm always looking at the numbers, always. So, right, and using an algorithm. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what is your system exactly?
I would love to disclose to everybody exactly what goes into the algorithm, but then we would be giving away the secret sauce, but I can give you a little kind of flavor. So we basically, collect years and years of historical data, ranging from everything, ref data, play-by-play data, box score data. We compile that, figure out what is the most predictive of, the problem we're trying to solve. Are we trying to points of the game? Are we trying to predict the spread? Kind of compile a set of, variables, features, stats that we think will, properly predict that game, run that through millions of iterations, and then once we kind of come to an end result that we're happy with from an accuracy perspective, we'll start to test that, in real time, in production, for the current games, and then actually, put that on the website after we're, happy with the results.
Fantastic, man. There's a lot of people out there in the industry that, to me, that are scammers. What they do is they go into a situation. They have whether it's an 800 number or back in the day they used to have the 900 number. So what they would do is they'd give 50% of the people picks one way and give the other 50% of the people picks the other way, giving them a 50-50 chance of having a group of people who are going to come back and always come back, right? And so the thing that I like about your website is that you are taking a very big risk at exposing your record and creating a monitoring system and policing yourself. That's got to really say a lot about the confidence that you have in your picks. You got to have a huge set of kahunas to be able to do that. What makes you so confident about your algorithm?
I mean, this is, the work that we put on the website, the values that we have here is we're not going to put anything out that doesn't beat the existing competitors. So, I do tons of testing before we actually, put our algorithms on the website. And, we are testing for months on end to, ensure kind of consistent returns across the board. It's not worth for us to put something out subpar. If we are to do NFL, which we're planning to do for this next upcoming NFL season, if it's not ready to go at the start of the season because the accuracy is not there, we won't put it up. So we really find value in ensuring our users that our picks are going to be consistent over the course of the year. We're not going to kind of hide behind closed doors and not show you our results. We're going to put everything out there for you to view because I'm betting on the game. It's my co-founders are betting on the game. We have investors that have invested in us that are betting, 10x what I even have, in my bank account. They're very confident in our system. So I believe what we have out there right now is I can say, I can assure you that we are better than any other algorithmic prediction system when it comes to the NBA. And for, the expert pickers, I really haven't seen anything out there that really, comes close to our ROI on a consistent basis.
Great. Has there ever been a time when you're looking at the algorithm and you really, really believe that the opposite is going to happen?
It comes a lot down to, personal affiliation and emotion. So tonight on the website, if you check it out at swishanalytics.com, we have the Rockets beating the Blazers. The Blazers are my favorite team on earth. And, when I go to my online sports book, it's really difficult for me to put in that bet on the Rockets, but that's really where we kind of cross the line, and we are really sticking to our system. And even though my personal bias, my personal opinion really wants me to bet on the Blazers, I got to go with the system. The numbers are telling me to do that. Do that consistently over the course of the year, and then you're going to have positive returns on investment. So there's definitely times where I look at the numbers and they don't make sense, but this is, years of work, iterations, and, I'm very confident in the system. Without the system, I really wouldn't know what to do. If there's 15 games on an NBA day, I would just be picking numbers out of a hat trying to place bets. But, this really gives me some, confidence when I'm putting in those bets, on my sports book.
Would you consider yourself more of a mathematician than a handicapper?
I kind of think of myself more as a hacker. I'm good at a number of different things. I love data. I love algorithms. I love predictions. But NBA, this is kind of a dream job because I'm kind of getting to put it all in one place.
I understand that you're coming up with a new NFL algorithm coming out this fall. Tell us a little bit about that.
NFL is the most heavily bet sport in the United States, as you know.
Right.
It's the natural direction for us. So we're working on that right now. We've been working on it for months. It's going to be ready to go, kicked off starting, start of the season. We're really excited for it. It's going to be a similar product to what we're putting out right now, except replicated for the NFL. And, other things than that, betting globally is really interesting. World Cup's coming up. We're thinking about putting out kind of an algorithmic predictions tool for World Cup. We did, an algorithmic bracket for March Madness. So we're trying to move into all sports, as we have time to do that. NBA first, NFL next. Who knows what's next after that.
Fantastic. Is there a URL that they can find you at in the NFL come this fall?
Yeah, so everything's going to be hosted at swishanalytics.com, and so currently right now we only have BetBuckets under there, but that will kind of host all our different kind of sports products on swishanalytics.com.
Fantastic. Anything else you want to plug?
I would love anybody listening to come check out the site. We're the best in the business thus far. We're very transparent. We got picks every day. They're all automatically driven, algorithmically driven. Love for some feedback for anybody out there that bets on the NBA. We're always looking for it. But thank you so much, Johnny. Anything else?
No, Joe, thank you so much for coming on with us. Best to you, Bobby and Corey, in the future. We'll be watching you closely.
Okay, Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Go
Thanks.
Blazers.
Yeah.
Go
Take
Blazers.
care, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
That's a great interview for me as a fellow handicapper, someone in the NFL. It's all about systems, right? At the end of the day, is what's your system? What do you use? This guy, he talks about being a hacker, and it's important to understand what a hacker is. A hacker is someone who is able to break into the secrets, figure out your secrets, right? They're able to break down your firewall, get through and get all your secrets. So, and I like how he said that. So he creates an algorithm because he was able to find a mathematical rhythm of what wins and what doesn't. And there's a lot of handicappers out there that do that. Part of my system in the NFL is I do use a lot of numbers. You know, I'm always going to play the numbers over my gut. But you have to play them all the time, and that's the thing. If you miss one game, if you decide that you're not going to play one game, it ruins your. It takes out a variable, which ruins your long-term math of it. So it's important. I love. You know, like I said, I've spent the last few hours on BetBuckets, taking a look, and I like what they do here. They're very unlike many handicappers out there.
And they get by the first hurdle, like what you said earlier, was that a lot of people that go on these sites, that initially they say, well, all right, I got to put my credit card in, or I got to pay for this, I got to buy this. No, completely 100% free.
Right.
You know, you're getting some quality advice, high percentage. I want to know what his NFL algorithm said.
That's going to be
the over-under was of Johnny Manziel making it to week 8. That's all I want to know what his algorithm was.
I wish we would have asked him that question.
No, but it's one of those things where you say forget ESPN and sports science. I mean, these guys have numbers you can count on, and you can go check them out.
Right.
It's a fantastic website. Just a great group of guys too.
You have a lot of vitriol towards Johnny Manziel. I mean, there's something there. Talk about that a little bit.
I was down in College Station with my wife, and he decided to. I went home alone. That's what it was. No, I. You know what? I'm not big on hype. I don't like hype.
Gosh.
And what Johnny Manziel is to me is 100% unbridled hype.
Tim Tebow. Is that what you're saying?
He is a better version of Tim Tebow.
Bosworth? Is he Bosworth worthy?
I don't see Manziel calling out like Clay Matthews. That was Bosworth. That was Boz's big problem. He called out Bo, and you don't do that.
Right.
You don't spit in the wind. You don't tug on Superman's cape, and you do not provoke Bo Jackson. Those are some of the things you don't do. So it's just one of those things.
Water came through my nose on that one.
It's you know what? The more people talk about him and build him up, if I could speak in the code that you do with Joe and the boys at BetBuckets, the breakdown that I have, the analytics that I have of him, I do not see him being. Is he an X factor? Great. Do you want that in your quarterback? If you're a head coach and your job is contingent on your quarterback, wouldn't you like to have an idea what he's going to do when the ball snapped?
At the end of the day, I look at the tape. What is it? What do you see?
What does the tape tell you?
So what does it tell you?
It tells me that his first read, he doesn't see his first read. He would rather, we had this problem. Kevin Kolb, when he came to the Bills, I saw tape on him in Arizona. He looks at the rush. I mean, a defensive lineman from Oakland, I can't remember his name, it eludes me right now, but when they played Arizona, he said, I saw fear in Cobb's eyes. You know why? Because he was looking at me when I was rushing.
Was it Seymour?
Yeah, probably. Your eyes have to be downfield. Manziel, when he hits that 4th or 5th step, he's looking at the rush, and he wants to run around. And he's athletic enough to do that in college.
Understood.
You try to do that in the pros where everyone's faster than you or as fast, it's not going to bode well with you. But the only thing that might save him, it's not all bad, Manziel. The only thing that might save him is the new offenses that are being developed in the NFL now with the very short, quick passes.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anybody talk about him running the pistol.
Kind of like the Chip Kelly. No, they won't run the pistol. But yeah, put him in a Chip Kelly offense, he might excel. When I look at him, I see winner. And what I mean by that there's a lot that goes into that. Edwards, got picked up by the Buffalo Bills. He played for, and this is really funny because one of my favorite coaches of all time, Bill Walsh, said that Edwards was at Stanford was a great quarterback. And
At Stanford.
At Stanford.
Okay.
He had a losing record both seasons he was there.
So did Elway.
So, well, that's true. Luck had a winning record there.
Yes, he
both
did.
seasons he was there. Now, but I see winner. I mean, I see a winner in all parts of his life. You know, some people just have win written all over them, and some people are just losers. And to me, you fit in one category or the other. Mm-hmm. And a winner is somebody who's going to do everything in their power to win. And that includes hard work, which to me is the most important thing. And it includes lots and lots of sacrifice, whether it's sacrificing your time, your relationships, or your body, as he's done. I think I see winner. Now, that being said, his physical, he's got to change the way he plays football because of his physical attributions, which is his specifically his size. That's going to work against him in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He's got to be able to look downfield longer than he did in college, and he gets into that linebacking core, and he's in trouble.
And I think we got a soundbite from Manziel that we picked up a couple of shows ago. Thank you, Johnny.
That's perfect.
For that wonderful soundbite from I don't know where he was when he said that.
Well, Braden called it. He said, the big story is going to be that Manziel is going to fall out of the top 10. Again, I think the big story is going to be, will there be a quarterback drafted in the first round?
If I could defer to another quote, and it won't be long, it's about 25 seconds. You talk about Manziel being a winner. You talk about him having, everyone likes to talk about the it factor with him. People talked about it with Tebow. He turned down a job with the Montreal Alouettes. Okay? You want to talk about the it factor, and this is from a movie that I happen to like. A lot of people have seen it if you're a football fan, Any Given Sunday. You let me know if what he describes here is Johnny Manziel. So just let me see if I can get it.
Leader of a team who will support you when they understand you, who will break their ribs and their noses and their necks for you because they believe, because you make them believe.
Now that's a quarterback.
That's right.
So when they understand you, will break every one of their bones to try to because that's the quarterback. That's the definition of a quarterback for your team. You could say that's Drew Brees. You could say that's Manning. You could say that's Brady, even though I don't like the guy.
What about Manziel makes you believe that that's not him? You think he's a mean
think that
guy?
a level of being a leader of a team is maturity. We've seen that
He's 21.
We've seen that but the guy's putting tweets out there. He's going to parties wearing Tim Tebow's Jets jersey, drinking beers when he was underage. I mean, he's doing all this. I know he's a kid.
James.
I know he's a kid, but come on.
Every kid does that. If I was under the microscope when I was 21, the way he is, I mean, I don't know what that would have done to me. As a matter of fact, I think he's matured pretty quickly. To me, he's no longer Johnny Manziel, but as just to steal this away from Colin Cowherd, I think he's Jonathan Manziel now. So. Is he a guy? I don't think there's anything that showed me that he's a me guy on that field. Nothing at all. I think the players loved him. Yeah.
Do we got the camera here?
You talk about money.
Is this Manziel?
Making the money. Yes, but
he went like this to the one after he got his. He played the second half or something against Rice.
Yeah.
And the guy he was talking to going like this, like he was signing something after he just got off.
Yeah.
Come on.
People trash talk in their own way.
Yes.
Everybody trash talks in their own way. I just think I don't think Johnny Manziel is going to be a terrible quarterback. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to be a pretty decent quarterback. I think whoever gets him, if they get the time to develop him and they sit him on the bench behind someone like an old veteran, The Texans getting him in the second round, first pick, set him behind Fitzpatrick, who's a smart guy.
What's your time frame on that? A year or two?
At least 2 years.
2 years.
Third year, they go back.
Well, then we're talking apples and oranges then, because I am tired of everyone saying he's going to go in and start win this now.
Absolutely,
everyone
not.
keeps talking about it. If he sits down and then can show me that he can progress through his reads, he could stay within the pocket.
Absolutely.
He can do some things that I haven't seen him do.
Yeah.
Then it's different. It's a different story. I agree with you on that.
I think he needs more of like an Aaron Rodgers type development. Behind some good quarterback who can give him the education and the time he needs for the game to slow down. And once the game slows down for a quarterback, because I think Johnny Manziel is a smart kid. He's a lot smarter than he comes across. But right now he's too young. He's coming out in his sophomore year, and I think for quarterbacks that's a big deal. I think it works against you. I think it works against you. Yeah.
But the thing was, last year, why does the name elude me right now? He had a lineman taken in the first round last year. He's going to have a lineman taken in the first round this year. I mean, you think about that, the line that he had in front of him, how could he not succeed with horses like that are going in the first round to NFL teams?
That's
true. I mean, that could be one of the things. I saw him run around a lot of times last year too. So
yeah,
it's just one of those things that the proverbial. We'll have to see what happens.
That's right.
Especially May 8th.
and the great part about it is no one will be looking back and calling you stupid, because no one's ever going to be talking about this show 3 years from now.
Well, this is your show. This is the Quick Draw. You're on #sports. You can see it's at #sports.net. Your show. You would care to put a little wager on where he goes?
Second round.
Second round? Ugh.
I think he goes second round.
Oh, God. I was going to pick late second, maybe early third.
That's really? I think early second. I think
my personal opinion, I don't see him going first 2 rounds. If it's late in the second, maybe.
That's my schnoz right there.
As we transition out, we're waiting for the call from Benny Castro from the NYC. We're talking a little bit about the NFL draft, Johnny Manziel. Do you see? Well, if we're talking about Johnny, you're hiring him as a winner. Let's talk about another winner who won some titles in A.J. McCarron. What do you think about him? Comparing him to? Now, well, let's just. Your opinion on McCarron.
Yeah.
And then maybe comparing him to Manziel. What do you see?
Okay. When I, as an NFL scout, coming in and taking a look at a quarterback that I want to see a quarterback go through some adversity and how they respond to it. I don't think McCarron's had a lot of it.
He just broke up with his girlfriend. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah. She's doing Burger King commercials and getting fat, so... I'm sure he broke up with her. He's about to make a lot of money. So is she. I mean, she's absolutely stunning. So, but he'll be fine. He had one of the best offensive lines in all of college, and he had it for 4 years. Mm-hmm. You never see that guy's jersey ever get dirty. The one game that I saw that he ran into some adversity was the Auburn defense. And if you saw what happened, Saban took the ball away from him.
Which I didn't agree with.
I know you didn't.
But then again, Saban forgot more about football than I know, so I'm going to trust him.
Right.
But I would love to see him try to make some plays. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But he knows his quarterback. He knew the kind of pressure that quarterback was facing, that he couldn't handle it. And I think that's why he took the ball away from him. He did.
I think he probably figured his defense was better than his offense during that game. Because, you can get in a rhythm out there, and you could see certain things starting to develop.
Well, they did score a lot of points still, right?
And
what he was doing was working anyway, right? I mean, what did they score, like 50 points? What was the final?
Didn't you bet that game? You should know
that. Oh, my gosh, that was insane. I'm not such a big Nick Saban fan. I think Saban's kind of all politics and all that. But, I think he's a great salesman. He gets the talent. In college, you win with talent. He's not – if you look at his skill set at coach with regards to the play calling and stuff, he's very, very vanilla. I mean, he does nothing special. He runs the ball down your throat, runs right, runs left, runs down the middle. Nothing very creative or unique. He's you talk about, genius coaches coming out of college. Chip Kelly is a genius. His offense is remarkable, and what he does, watch him next year. And what he does, he took a guy like Nick Foles and turned him into a star.
Chip Kelly? How dare you? Oh, Chip Kelly. Hey, Chip, how's Napoleon Dynamite and the Dude Where's My Car twins with Sanchez and Barkley? How are those guys doing?
Foles is a California guy, too, isn't he?
Arizona State.
Oh,
Arizona State. I'll look it up.
Close enough.
But, my Lord.
Well, why don't we move on to, we're about to get on a call here. We got 3 minutes. Setting up for the handicappers, and what makes a good handicapper. And if you're looking for a good handicapper, what are you actually going to look for? We talked to Joe and him and his 3 co-founders. These were sport fanatics who had jobs in insurance, and jobs in technology. Trying to predict insurance fraud. Yeah. These were computer techies who were sports fanatics who wanted to really try to come in and, like he said, hack the system, So he developed an algorithm that he felt was good enough, tested it, and then released it in such a way that he's able to monitor and prove and show proof of his history. You want to be careful when you go out there and look for handicappers. Obviously, a lot of people in this industry get business from word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, this is just a numbers game. And guys with systems, creating algorithms, this is just a numbers game. And everybody's got their own system. The key is to find the guy with the right system. So Benny Castro is on the line now.
He's coming in soon. He's not in the queue yet, but continue.
All right.
You got him on there?
Should I give him a call? Not sure.
I will, but I want to ask you a quick question before we get to that call. Mm-hmm. How much in handicapping? It's a numbers game. He's got the algorithms. He does all that. How much of the human element do you put into it, or is that already factored?
I think it's factored.
Okay.
I think, and I couldn't tell you exactly what Joe's algorithm is, but Joe's algorithm probably has to do with a lot more mathematically speaking, and the amount of times a home team that is double-digit favorites is going to cover, historically, right? So a home team favorite historically covers double-digit points 30% of the time. So he's going to bet the underdog every single time because historically he's going to, the numbers show that that's the bet that you want. Then you take account injuries, right? So that's the X factor. So maybe they're double-digit favorites because of an injury to the underdog. Yeah. LeBron James is out, so you take that into factors. So these are the kind of algorithms that he's using. It's all based on mathematics. A guy like me, when I look at systems, I have a few, and I think when you talk to Benny Castro, you're going to find he uses the same system I do, which is we do a lot of numbers, but we're also you got to have an emotional detachment, but you also have to be able to be in the moment. Look at today's game. You have Wainwright pitching against the Cubs. The Cubs aren't that good, yet Wainwright gets blasted.
Yeah.
You have to be in the moment. Pitchers are a rare commodity. A brilliant pitcher is usually only brilliant for 1 to 2 years, and then they fall off a cliff. I mean, look at Strasburg. The guy can't throw a strike anymore. I mean, you bet the over on Strasburg every time, you'll win. I believe we got Benny on the line.
All right, we're gonna see if this is gonna be third time's the charm here.
Hello, I'm here. You hear me?
Benny, can you hear us?
Benny, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, buddy. Can you hear us?
That would be a negatory on
Hey guys,
on the Benny.
We can hear you, buddy. Can you hear us?
We can hear the Jets. We just can't hear Benny. So we're gonna try to give him a call. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to Hashtag Sports. Try to bring on Benny Castro out of New York City. Benny, how you doing? This is the game from Hashtag
I'm doing
Sports.
great. I didn't know if you could hear me. I was saying hello on the phone call.
I do apologize, Benny. We're having some technical difficulties here at the studio. We could have heard you, but you couldn't hear us. So
Okay.
we got you
You
now.
can hear me now, right?
Perfect. Crystal clear.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Okay, sorry about that. What up, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing really well, man. Thanks for coming on. Now, Benny, you're a professional handicapper. Been in the business for 10 years. Tell us a little bit how you got started.
Well, it's funny about that. I had a job interview with American Express, and I was going to be a certified financial planner. Of course, you had to go through the certifications. And unfortunately, I didn't get the position. But to my pleasure afterwards, I got on the computer, and I thought about sports. And I'm like, hey, I wonder if they have like a sports betting site. I was so innocent at the time, and I went on, and I found it. And I'm like, oh my God, I just started reading. I hated reading through college. You have no idea, but for whatever reason, it just clicked in me, and I picked up all the info that I could on it, and that's pretty much how I started. I made one bet. It was on the Cincinnati Reds plus 125. I do not remember who they beat, but I do remember that they won, and I just remembered, wow, I can do this. And that's pretty much how I started.
That's pretty amazing. Serendipity closes one door and opens another. You're a handicapper. What sports do you usually handicap?
I do professional baseball, basketball, football, so that's MLB, NFL, and NBA, just in case, because I know you have professional sports in other countries, but those are the ones that I stick to. Now,
in every business, there's usually a learning curve. So, you come into a very, very volatile industry where the average, the layman will usually go about 50-50. Did you have a learning curve when you first entered this industry?
Oh, my God, did I ever? I'll tell you what the learning curve was. It was bad luck's leather belt. Let me tell you. All I did was get whipped left and right. Oh, you have no idea. I went through so many symptoms in the beginning. Are you kidding me? To this day, I still have the echoes of the hollow leather that used to smack my skin. For real, you have no idea how much I got whipped. So, yeah, there was a learning curve for me. What kept me in it were two things. One, I knew that I could do it. That's the very first thing. And the second thing is I loved it. I love sports. I saw the potential in it. So that's pretty much what kept me in. But trust me, there was a learning curve. It took me about a good 6 months before I could say, okay, finally, I can say now I can stick to something. I know what I'm doing. I see all the angles, or at least at that time, because you know that no matter how much you know, and I'm sure that John could talk about this. No matter how much you know and how much you find out, you always learn something new. You always learn something new, and that's what you institute into your systems. I'm pretty sure that the gentleman, Mr. Hyman, when he made the algorithms for his system, he always picked something up that he added to it. That's what you do. Anytime that you pick something new up, you just keep on adding to it. And I just feel very fortunate because I was able to do that.
Fantastic. Now, tell us what an average. Before we start with an average winning month for you, what's the worst case that you've ever been through? What kind of losses have you had to deal with?
Oh my God. This is back in 2005. There was sorry about that, guys. I think I'm going to be on your show, and everybody wants to call me now. In 2005, for a good reason, right? In 2005, there was the last game. It was the last week for the NFL season, and I remember that I had parlayed a lot of games starting on Wednesday of that week. And the last game that I was waiting for was the game between the Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. It's funny because I was on your site, John, and I was reading an article, actually watching one of your shows, the earlier show, talking about if people play at Miami later on, and you were talking about the Patriots. at the time, and they play in Miami later on throughout the season, and it's hot. They're not used to it. I wish I had heard you back then, because that would have helped out a lot. Unfortunately, I ended up playing on the Patriots, and what made it worse, it was the last game. I never had played on the last game that was meaningless. I did not know that they were only going to play the starters after the last game. I'm serious. This is a true story. So I had put everything on parlays with that game being the last game. And when that game went down, I lost 10,000. That's how much I lost in total with all the parlays of that day. That was my biggest loss because of that game. I call it my $10,000 lesson. But the total that I would have won would have been over 43,000. So,
Oh my goodness, that is a kick in the gooch. So, what's an average month for you like?
An average, it all depends on the season, meaning like if it's baseball, basketball, football, and of course it fluctuates. But on average, it could be anywhere from about 15, sometimes 5. And forgive me that I'm giving you such a difference between numbers, but the truth is sometimes I just take time off.
Right.
And I don't get into it, or I go on a slump. Because no one, no matter what, no matter if you have a system, you're never immune to slumps. What you are, though, is you're slump-proof to the point where no matter if you get a slump, you're able to bounce back out of it because you follow the system. It's so important that you follow a system.
So tell us a little bit about your system. What makes your system say different or better than other people's systems?
Well, what makes it better is number one, I believe in the unreasonable. And what I mean by that is many times people are going to say, "Oh, there's no way in the world that." I don't know, the Oklahoma City Thunder could beat the Washington Wizards when they were not playing well a year ago. I remember they played in Washington. Well, I break down the numbers, much like John was speaking about earlier. I break down the numbers, and if the numbers make sense, no matter how it may seem to the naked eye, I follow the numbers. I follow the system. So that's one of the things that makes it better because that's immune to emotion. The gentleman earlier, Mr. Iman, was talking about he likes Portland today. Now, they might win, but his system is telling him it's Houston. That's who you have to go on, the Houston Rockets.
Right.
That's exactly what he's referring to. You have to follow the system. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is because of all the experience that I've been able to gather, I pretty much analyze everything else, the psychology of the game. So whoever's involved, I was talking earlier to John, I was telling him about I believe it was 3 years ago, Kendrick Perkins was playing for the Boston Celtics at the time, and he had just gotten traded. So the very first game, Boston had went to Golden State to play the Golden State Warriors at Golden State, obviously, and they got whipped. They were favored. I believe the odds were minus 150 on the money line that day.
I remember that. I remember that. That was a sad day for Boston fans.
Exactly. So psychologically, I noticed how, I was studying how they were feeling. Kevin Garnett was saying, he was really down. The coach, Doc Rivers, at the time was talking about trying to pick the guys up. That's a perfect example of the psychology of the game. And it happens so much, you just have to pay attention to it. And like John was saying, and it was just an awesome show, the show right before this one. He was talking about the underdogs. How if you play a really good team, one of those teams in football, for example, that is like a smack mouth team that'll break your mouth, like let's say the Pittsburgh Steelers, the San Francisco 49ers, the Ravens in many years. What happens is the very next game that you play, you're all sore, you all be enough, even though you have a week to recover throughout the week, you're practicing. So what happens is the odds end up diminishing in terms of your possibility or probability of winning. So that's just just to give you like a little clue, something that was really good and thoughtful that John was sharing with the audience.
Fantastic. Now, one of the things that people look for when we're picking a handicapper is some kind of historicals. Now, I understand that you're putting together a website now, and it's going to be out hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days. So as of right now, your historicals, you don't have a monitoring systems on your games yet. Could you, as far as what you think your historicals are, where do you think you live? Like, is it the 55 to 60%? Are we talking anywhere in the 60-65%? What's your ROI?
My ROI, the way that I break that down is, and I know people are not going to believe this in regards to it, but the very least is 66%. I tend to hover over 80%. That's what I do when it comes to the actual picking of it.
Now, are you talking money line, or are you talking against the spread?
I'm talking about altogether.
Wow.
Because there are days that I don't like the money line at all. I know it sounds weird, but there are days that I just go with the point spread. I don't do OUs much, but I do stick to money money lines and point spreads. So that's what I do. I always tell whoever picks me, listen, you gotta make money. If you don't make money out of it, I don't want it. That's just it. In terms of the monitoring service to cover that for you, I'm in the process. I'm still waiting for a phone call from them to put that in there because I want to be monitored. I want people to see. Look, I'm not perfect. You're gonna see the times that I missed. Like I was telling John yesterday, yesterday with Oklahoma City Thunder. I thought that the Grizzlies would actually close them down. I really liked them, and I know that Mike Conley got hurt, and they went down. But at least I was one. The other two won, so that made it a 66% of the picks, which in this case turns out to be a 27.27% return, because there was all three of them were on the point spread.
It's amazing.
And that's what came through. So
who do you like tonight?
I like the Spurs. They're already playing. The good thing was that I had text. You did get the text, right, John?
Which text are you talking about? That you like the Spurs? Oh yeah, I did get that. I did get your text.
Okay,
yeah.
Just in case, I'm like, okay, look, John could see, he could tell you I picked them regardless of what happens in the game. But I like the Spurs today, and in terms of the Rockets and the Portland Trailblazers, I know so much what Mr. Hyman is talking about. I really feel systematically, I feel that Houston's gonna get that. But my gut, my actual gut, or my heart, whichever one of you want to use, I feel that the Blazers are gonna close them out today.
Really, I gotta tell you, I kind of agree with you. I agree with you. I think the Blazers. I just think that Houston hasn't been really playing that well. I don't know what they don't play like they want it. It doesn't. I don't feel like they're hungry. And as much as I love the beard, the guy just doesn't play defense at all. And when he's off, that whole team just goes down with him. So I think.
You noticed that they started picking up 2 days ago when he was actually on the bench.
Yeah,
they put him in.
Jeremy Lin came through. Yeah, you're right.
Just answer your point.
Fantastic. Look, Benny, it was great having you. Any plugs you want to share?
Oh, yes. I have a very special promotion going on right now. Though I don't have my site going up, like you said, it's going to be up in about 30 to 45 days. I have a special promotion going on the platform Fiverr.com. It's an awesome platform, so that's spelled Fiverr.com/chulo with 3 U's. So that's spelled CHUUULO. You go there, and you just buy the gig. It's right underneath the introduction of what I'm doing. It's right there. It's right on the page. You can't miss it. It's once you click on it, if you have an account, if you're signed in, you're already there. If you're not signed in, you sign in. And if you don't have an account, you could establish one through Facebook or Google. It's very simple. It's PayPal based, although you can also get away without having to pay through PayPal, meaning using a PayPal account, and it's only $5. Like, you can't go wrong. I can't be free, the algorithms of what Mr. Hyman was saying, but it is only $5, guys. Trust me, I've charged a lot more for what I'm asking for. So, and again, if I don't come through for you, not only will I keep working until I get there, not only will I do that, I won't ask you for anything else. That's how confident I am in my system and in what I do.
My man, it was a pleasure having you on, and we'll just trust me, I will be in touch. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, John. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too, Betty. So that's, handicapping is such a tolerance. It's unfriendly for those who don't have a tolerance for risk. You gotta have a big set of balls to be able to do it, because it's a hard business. Unlike any other business, whether you own a grocery store or a restaurant, you're always making revenues. Now, you have bad months, you have good months, but the revenues are always coming in. In handicapping, you have negative days, and sometimes that turns into negative weeks, and then sometimes it turns into a negative month. And the ability to stay the course requires a boatload of risk tolerance, and in the world of handicapping. So one of the first things, if you're going to get into this game, for those listening to the show, three things that I want to tell you. Number one, don't do it if you don't have money. Please do not put your rent money up. This is play money. Use it as such. Okay. Number two, do not get emotionally invested. those who are unable to unplug from the matrix that is sports gaming, you have to be able to. The $5 bet and the $5,000 bet have to feel exactly the same. And if they don't, then you're emotionally invested and it's wrong. If you bet something that you are on the edge of your seat about, you're doing it wrong. You should never be on the edge of your seat. It's a business. At the end of the day, it's just business. Okay? And the third and final thing, study. Study the games. Look for those who've been in it for a while. Look for a good handicapper. There's a ton online. You got to be able to sift through the fakes, the cheaters, the scammers. And the real ones do exist out there. And there's about, I'd say the numbers are about 1 out of every 1,000 people are handicappers.
Wow.
That's a very low number. You're talking about 1% of 1%, or 10% of 1%. So it's a low number. It's a lot of fun, though. It is a lot of fun, and it is a good business. You can make a lot of money long term. But it is long term, and you're going to have some tough months. So make sure you have the risk tolerance to be able to get through it. Let's one more thing I want to talk about, changing course a little bit.
Okay. I'm still mad at you for that Chip Kelly comment, by the way. No, I mean, before you get to that, we would, we'd just like to, once again, thank Braden Flack, Joe Hagan, and the boys over at BetBuckets.com and Benny Castro for taking time out of their day to chat with myself and the sheriff. We're going to be having them, all three of them, on very soon to discuss when the NFL season starts to kick up again. We're going to bring those guys back. So we just wanted to send a very sincere thank you from the hashtag sports crew over here for joining us tonight.
Great interviews. Big news. I don't know if you're sick of it yet, but Sterling, Clippers. Any opinions on that?
Yeah, I got a quick comment on that.
132 in Bush. I've got him at gunpoint. Okay, gunpoint 132 in Bush. Covers code 3. Being sent.
Bad boys.
And I only echo that statement, that theme, whatnot, because we on our Monday show we covered this briefly, and it's not a topic that you go into lightly, and I don't like really discussing topics like this. So on a previous show before that, we talked about how many shows ago, I can't remember what it was. We gave it was our Titus Young Dumpster Fire Award of the week that we hand out on Mondays. We've given it out to Riley Cooper before and maybe spent about 40 seconds discussing it.
Right.
The reason why I don't like discussing it is it's utterly repulsive.
Right.
Some of the comments that come out about this guy, but even in reference to Sterling, this is nothing new for him. No. And I hate to put a spoiler alert for everybody out there who are fans of the NBA or NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, any of the major sports that you have out there. There is at least one Sterling on every team. So if you're going to try to go through and get rid of all of them, it's going to be kind of tough.
I kind of agree with you. Now, that being said, it's 2014, and this guy has the personality of a slave owner in the 1850s. This is an institutionalized thing. So yeah, even though there may be a player or a coach or fans that look at the NHL yesterday, the fans on Twitter. Using racist slurs. This stuff is happening in 2014. Grow the F up already, people. This shouldn't exist here, but it does, and you're absolutely right. This is an institution of bigotry that he's got at the top that's going on, and I would really, really love to thank David Stern and say, fantastic job. Shake his hand and say, wow, you've really hit this right. But at the end of the day...
You mean the current commissioner?
Yeah, the current commissioner of the NBA.
Not Stern.
I'm sorry. Silver. Adam Silver. Oh, my God. Yes. I'm sorry. Mr. Silver, Great
Hey,
job.
there's Fatty.
Yeah,
There
there
he
he is. So,
Oh, God.
But
Why'd you put a drink on that stomach while you're at it?
a
Jeez.
bag of chips.
Oh, God. A bag of chips.
But at the end of the day, it was a business. Come tomorrow if an owner was heard saying, "Hey, I don't agree with gay with gay marriage," they're not going to kick him out because there's not enough gays in the NBA to kick him out.
But-
Now, it would be a big story. It would, but people would still go to the games. Players would still play. They wouldn't revolt. They wouldn't put their jerseys in the middle of the court, inside out, and wear black socks and black, wristbands. They're not going to do that. So this was a business decision that was made by David Silver. So Adam Silver. Jesus Christ.
It's Friday night. I can get those.
It's the end of the day.
I get those every once in a while.
So, when I just don't want to give them too much credit at the end of the day. The NBA did the right thing, but it's a business decision at the end of the day. So I'm not giving them any credit at all, but get this piece of crap out of the NBA.
The thing that shocked me
they did it
about
right. They made a right move.
And I heard this. It wasn't like I heard this from one person or two people or just one media outlet, two media outlets or whatever. I heard this from multiple media outlets, and it was, oh, he didn't know he was being recorded. We on this one? Do you have to be recorded to act like a human being?
No.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. He know he was being recorded. Yeah.
Well said.
Well, I'm not going to go punch somebody in the face.
Well said.
I'm like, what? I'm getting arrested for it. I
I've-
didn't know I was recorded.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid. Some of the stuff that goes on.
And I mean, you were talking to your half black. I think she's half black, half Mexican girlfriend.
You trying to get me in trouble?
No, I'm just saying. I'm wondering, is she half black, half Mexican? Right?
Who?
His girlfriend.
His girlfriend?
Yeah. He was talking to her as if she was just a toy, a novelty item. You know?
He's a piece of trash.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Right.
He doesn't deserve to own a team. He doesn't.
Right.
He's a. You know what? And we were talking
They
about
wanted
this.
him out, I think, years ago.
We were talking about
at the
this
end of the day.
earlier. These guys that are owners of teams have all this money in the world.
Yeah.
They didn't get.
Gus? No, you're right.
You know what, Johnny? We can't have a guy like this in our family. We gotta take him out of the NBA. He's gonna be banned for life. You're not allowed in this family anymore. Piece of trash.
Okay,
Got
that's it. That's it. I butchered. Sports. You know what else you can expect?
I love it.
On a Friday at 10:30. We got the quick draw. I mean, the sheriff was up,
Great show.
waking the rooster up. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you, the fans of Hashtag Nation, for joining us once again. He is the sheriff. I am the game. You're going to see us one more time, at least one more time, when we have the draft episode May 8th. Right here at Hashtag Studios, and it's not just going to be us. We're going to have the closer, the loop, the legend will be calling in. Hopefully the phone lines will be all fixed by then. But be sure to join us on Monday for our Cinco de Mayo episode. We're also, that Wednesday, May 7th, we're going to have our mock draft episode. We're going to have the draft episode on the 8th, and we'll be back here next week for Quick Draw once again. Like I said, thank you for the guests. You can find us at hashtagsports.net. BuckBuckSports.com and UltimateSportsTalk.com for the sheriff.
And one more thing, BuckBuck.com. running a promotion.
Yes.
Guess what a buck is? If you do, you win an iPad. Hopefully you guys
Guess
all
what a
sign up.
buck is? You win an iPad.
That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna enter. But you guys stay tuned for hashtag sports. For the Sheriff, I'm the game. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Buck.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.